Hey everyone, Ronald here. So this is a new series that I'm starting that is all about interview questions, particularly with Java. And I'm going to keep the series bite-sized and keep each video to 3 interview questions. So subscribe to get upcoming questions to keep your skills sharp, okay? If you don't do Java right now, nonetheless still subscribe, because if you're a software engineer, as you may already know, most programming questions translate from one programming language to another. So see if you can answer these questions based on your programming language. All right, so that's it. Let's jump right in. The first question I want to ask is, what are design patterns? This is a common question that I've gotten a few times, and some people might answer this a little bit too much in a complicated fashion, but really you can keep it straightforward. And they're basically a general reusable solution to a commonly occurring problem in the context of software engineering. That's it, really. Now they might ask you for some examples, and you can mention the mother of all design patterns, which fall under the Gang of Four patterns. If you were to go to this awesome website here, I really love the job that these guys did summarizing design patterns. They did it in the context of C#, but it applies to Java also. And as you can see on the left-hand side here, they have all the different design patterns that fall under Gang of Four. And they also have like a nice summary of what design patterns are. But they break down into 3 categories: creational, structural, and behavioral patterns. And here are some examples: abstract factory builder for creational, among a few others. And then under structural, we have adapter, bridge, composite, among a few others. And then we have behavioral patterns, which is chain of responsibility, command, interpreter, and a few more, with some nice, very short summaries. So you could pick and choose a few of these, just memorize the small definitions, but also know how to code the examples. And in these, there are examples with code and also using UML diagrams. So I really love this website here if you really want to get into the nitty-gritty. All right. Now, in terms of the Gang of Four, if you were to go to Amazon, there's actually a whole book written on them. They don't actually say Gang of Four here, but the book is called Design Patterns, Elements of Reusable Object-Oriented Software. If you were actually to search Gang, I'm sure some people mention it. Yeah, like sure enough, like in the comments here, they mention it, Gang of Four. But this is the book that goes really deep into it. And this whole book, all the examples inside are in Java, okay? So anyway, I kind of went on a little bit regarding design patterns, but it's a really important thing to be able to explain what it is and provide some examples. A common design pattern that some people might give as an example, which is almost like cliche now because it's used and mentioned so much, is the singleton pattern. So know that one, because that might be a question also, but also know a few others that you saw in that list that I mentioned from that website. Okay? So what are design patterns? They're just reusable solutions to common problems. So you really don't have to reinvent the wheel. The next question is, what is a class and what is an object? The straightforward answer is, a class is just a blueprint from which objects are created. Very straightforward answer. If you want to mention a little bit more, you could say that it represents a set of properties and methods that are common to all objects of one type. Now, based on that, if they were to ask you what's an object, all an object is an instance of a class. Nothing to get too deep about here. But if they did mention, to talk a little bit more about it, you could mention that in object-oriented programming, an object is nothing more than a self-contained component which consists of methods and properties to make a particular type of data useful. And that type of data is essentially a class. Now I'll show you an example of an object being instantiated when we're answering our third and final question, which we'll move on to now. So in Java, how do you convert the string below into a date type? Now this has a very straightforward answer. You could try to get all complicated and talk about how you could try to like dissect that string and create a date out of it, but most of the times the obvious answer that they're looking for is that you know how to use some of the classes in the libraries that are already available in Java. So the answer would be to convert that string to date in Java. You can do it using the parse method of the date format and simple date format classes. And if you look in this example here, we have the string defined on line 6, and on line 8 is where we do the magic by instantiating, and this is where I'm using an example of instantiating this class simple date format to create a date1 object, and then parsing it by passing in the date value, and then on line 10 we write it out. Now before any of this could be done, we need to import access to the classes, and we do that on lines 1 and 2 by importing simple date format and date from the utility library. So if we go to Visual Studio Code, right over here we can actually run the code that is already written here, and there's our parsed output. If you want to learn more about the different options that we have available for parsing, you can go to this website here, which is where I got the example. And you can see a bunch of different variations you can play around with just to get a feel for it. All right, so that's it for now. So stay tuned for some more Java questions coming up. So make sure that you're subscribed. But let me know if you have any questions in the comments or other common interview questions that you might have gotten, maybe stumbled on, and you want to share that with everyone. So love to hear from you. So if you like that video, hit that like button. You know that definitely helps me out with the algorithm. And also to check out more videos in the future, go ahead and subscribe, hitting that notification bell too. And to my left here, you can see a couple more videos that you could check out. So until then, I will see you guys in the next video.